NASCAR introduced stage racing in 2017, claiming it would enhance competition. However, critics like Harvick argue it instead reinforced dominance by rewarding already successful teams who consistently finish up front and accumulate bonus points. Kevin Harvick has never been one to hold his tongue, and now he's making waves with an accusation that could shake NASCAR to its core. The 2014 NASCAR Cup Series champion isn't just complaining about bad luck or a tough break. He's claiming that the sport's very structure is rigged in favor of the elite teams. Harvick believes that NASCAR's qualifying system isn't about fair competition, but rather a built-in advantage that keeps powerhouse teams on top while shutting everyone else out. For years, NASCAR has promoted itself as the most competitive motorsport in the world, where any driver has a chance to win on any given Sunday. But Harvick argues that this is nothing more than a manufactured illusion. The reality, he claims, is that the rules are designed to create an unbreakable cycle. The same teams get the best starting positions, the best pit stalls, and the cleanest air, allowing them to stay ahead while mid-tier and smaller teams struggle just to keep up. This isn't just frustration from a veteran driver. Harvick's accusations raise a fundamental question. Is NASCAR truly about competition, or is it a game rigged to favor its biggest players? That's what we'll break down as we examine his claims, the system in question, and whether NASCAR will be forced to respond. At the heart of Harvick's frustration lies NASCAR's qualifying procedure, a complicated formula he sees as systematically biased toward the elite teams. In the past, qualifying was straightforward. Drivers competed purely for the fastest lap, and the quickest car won pole position. But NASCAR abandoned this approach in favor of a multi-factor formula, supposedly to reward consistent performance. The formula now includes fastest lap time from the previous race, drivers' finishing position in the previous race, team owners' finishing position in the previous race, team owners' point standing. While this may sound logical on the surface, Harvick argues it merely reinforces an already unbalanced system. Elite teams, flush with resources, technology, and personnel, consistently finish at the top, thus earning favorable starting positions for subsequent races. This effectively hands them an advantage before the race even begins. Harvick believes this approach fundamentally violates the essence of racing. Instead of rewarding pure speed or individual skill, NASCAR has institutionalized a bias toward those already successful. The outcome? Smaller and mid-tier teams rarely have a fair shot at winning, as they're consistently handicapped by starting deep in the chaotic mid-pack, battling dirty air, traffic, and higher accident risk. Kevin Harvick's frustrations aren't just theoretical, they're backed by clear evidence on the track. Over recent seasons, the pattern is undeniable. Powerhouse teams like Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team Penske repeatedly secure front row positions week after week. While their success is partly due to elite talent and superior equipment, the qualifying system provides an additional and arguably unfair boost. For teams not in the top tier, this situation has severe consequences. They rarely experience the luxury of clean air, a critical advantage in modern NASCAR due to aerodynamic dependency. Clean air allows cars to handle better, maintain tire grip longer, and set faster lap times. Mid-tier teams, consistently starting in heavy traffic, are forced into chaotic battles for position where contact, accidents, and mechanical issues are commonplace. Harvick emphasizes that this built-in advantage creates a self-sustaining cycle. Elite teams qualify better, start races in safer positions, and secure stage points more easily, further solidifying their standings. Meanwhile, teams trapped mid-pack expend valuable resources simply trying to survive. This disparity isn't just a frustration, it fundamentally alters the competitive landscape, undermining NASCAR's claim of equal opportunity on race day. Kevin Harvick stops short of explicitly accusing NASCAR of outright cheating, but he's carefully walking a tightrope with his claims. Harvick's critique targets the structural fairness of the system itself, rather than accusing NASCAR of manipulating outcomes directly. But the line between deliberate cheating and systemic bias is thinner than NASCAR might care to admit. The critical difference lies in intent. NASCAR isn't secretly falsifying lap times or directly tampering with results. But Harvick argues the qualifying process inherently tips the scale. By continuously rewarding top teams with favorable starting positions, NASCAR indirectly controls the narrative of races, restricting genuine competition. For Harvick, this institutional bias borders closely on cheating because it violates the spirit of fair competition. NASCAR's official stance is that the qualifying system rewards consistency and merit. But Harvick counters that this claim ignores reality. The system inherently reduces unpredictability, dampens competition, and ensures a predictable hierarchy of success. By structuring the sport around a system that repeatedly favors the same teams, NASCAR has made racing outcomes more predictable, limiting opportunities for genuine upsets. In Harvick's eyes, if the rules prevent true competition from flourishing, it's indistinguishable from cheating, no matter how NASCAR frames it. Harvick's accusations highlight a deeper crisis for NASCAR, the marginalization of mid-tier and smaller teams. Unlike giants such as Hendrick Motorsports or Joe Gibbs Racing, mid-tier teams like Front Row Motorsports, Rick Ware Racing, and Spire Motorsports struggle to compete under the existing system. Without the budget for wind tunnel testing, extensive data analytics, and elite engineering teams, they depend heavily on track performance to gain momentum. Yet NASCAR's qualifying approach systematically prevents this. Each race weekend, smaller teams find themselves stuck in poor starting positions, forced into the most turbulent segments of the pack. In these positions, cars experience turbulent air, significantly reduced aerodynamic performance, and increased risk of collision. Even minor incidents can result in costly setbacks, straining budgets already stretched thin. Moreover, sponsorship hinges heavily on exposure and results. Constantly starting from disadvantaged positions limits the visibility and sponsorship opportunities mid-tier teams desperately need to remain competitive. Over time, this entrenches the dominance of elite teams, widening the resource gap even further. Harvick insists that NASCAR's current qualifying method not only undermines competitive fairness, but also threatens the financial viability and future survival of smaller teams, ultimately weakening the entire sport. Harvick's criticism echoes historical patterns within NASCAR, a sport that has repeatedly faced accusations of favoritism and manipulation. For example, when NASCAR introduced restrictor plate racing at Daytona and Talladega in the late 1980s, critics argued it unintentionally benefited larger, better-funded teams by emphasizing expensive aerodynamic engineering. Similarly, when NASCAR adopted the chase for the Cup playoff format in 2004, some believed it was an attempt to boost television ratings by ensuring star drivers consistently competed for championships. More recently, NASCAR introduced stage racing in 2017, claiming it would enhance competition. However, critics like Harvick argue it instead reinforced dominance by rewarding already successful teams who consistently finish up front and accumulate bonus points. When confronted with accusations of systemic bias, NASCAR typically maintains silence or points to their dedication to rewarding merit and consistency. But this response misses the heart of Harvick's grievance. By framing the system as merit-based, NASCAR deflects attention from underlying structural inequities that disproportionately advantage the richest teams. Harvick's pointed criticism isn't isolated. It's part of a broader debate within the sport about fairness, transparency, and NASCAR's ultimate responsibility. Now the question is, will NASCAR listen and adapt, or continue down the same controversial path? Kevin Harvick doesn't just highlight the problem, he offers a provocative solution: bring back the random qualifying draw. In Harvick's view, restoring randomness to qualifying would dismantle NASCAR's entrenched hierarchy, forcing top teams to occasionally fight from disadvantaged positions. This would restore unpredictability, a key ingredient that once defined NASCAR's appeal. A random draw might seem radical today, but historically, NASCAR thrived under precisely such conditions. Teams entered race weekends knowing luck could put any car, top tier or underdog, on the pole, making every qualifying session compelling viewing. This unpredictability gave smaller teams valuable exposure, boosting sponsorship opportunities and fan interest. critics argue randomness penalizes consistent performers. NASCAR officials maintain that starting positions should be earned through performance, not chance. Harvick counters this by emphasizing that racing should test adaptability, not just consistency. Elite teams would still have superior resources, but would now face genuine competition and obstacles, creating a more balanced and engaging racing environment. Harvick's random draw suggestion ultimately challenges NASCAR to reconsider its priorities. Is the sport truly about open competition and thrilling unpredictability, or is it content with predictable outcomes favoring an exclusive club of powerhouse teams? The decision could redefine NASCAR's future. Kevin Harvick's challenge isn't just noise. It's a direct test of NASCAR's willingness to listen and evolve. Historically, NASCAR has shown resistance to external criticism, especially when it questions the governing body's core decisions. Yet, NASCAR has also proven it can respond to sustained pressure from influential voices within the sport, particularly when public opinion swings heavily in favor of change. Harvick's platform as a respected former champion gives his critique considerable weight. Active drivers, team owners, and fans alike have begun echoing his sentiments, indicating widespread dissatisfaction with the current qualifying system. Social media debates and sports talk radio segments have amplified Harvick's message, making it increasingly difficult for NASCAR to ignore. However, NASCAR has a track record of initially resisting change, often citing tradition or the integrity of competition as reasons for maintaining the status quo. The governing body will likely defend its current system as a fair reflection of performance. Still, Harvick's voice, combined with growing public scrutiny, may force NASCAR executives to revisit their qualifying procedures. Whether NASCAR listens could signal its true commitment, either to fostering genuine competition or maintaining the status quo that favors the elite. For now, all eyes remain on how NASCAR responds. Do you think Kevin Harvick is right, or should NASCAR leave the rules as they are? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.